Hello and welcome to this webinar, Advanced Strategies for SME Growth. I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of ESS BIZTOOLS. What we're going to be talking today about is unlocking SME growth. Surely this is the key role of accountants and bookkeepers advising SMEs. The advanced strategies that the team at ESS BIZTOOLS have developed are a game changer for your SME clients, because there's a lot more to be done for your clients than the preparation of an income tax return, as important as that is. Sustainable growth is more than just a goal. It is a necessity for your clients, for my clients, for all accountants and bookkeepers' clients. So let's look at unlocking SME growth. Clients wanting to scale up need robust systems, daily, weekly, monthly, not just once or twice a year when they meet with their accountant, primarily for the finalisation of an income tax return. And it's not all on an optional basis, because systems are the cornerstone of long-term success. I think one of the reasons we've got the high failure rate in Australia in SME businesses is because not enough businesses are starting off with the right systems in the first place. And I believe this is a responsibility to accountants and bookkeepers to ensure that your clients are set up the right way in the first place. And if that evaluation means that you indicate to a potential client that you don't think they're ready to start a business, or they haven't got enough money to finance their business operations, then I think you've done them a good turn, because they may have to keep on working for another 2 or 3 years to raise the capital they need. If they've done their assumptions on the basis that they're automatically going to be given credit by suppliers to pay in 30 days' time, whereas when they go to place the order with the supplier, they're asked to pay cash up front, which is one of the key issues that MYOB discovered in their survey of 1,000 businesses a year ago. Or have they assumed that every person that they give credit to is going to automatically pay them on the 30-day basis? That's not how it works, is it? Australia's got the dubious record of having the highest debtors days outstanding in the world. So we need to make sure that our clients are facing up to the real issues that confront them in the world of small business. I think accountants and bookkeepers and business advisors are uniquely placed to guide SMEs towards these essential structures from day one. Not after they've been in business for 2 or 3 years, from day one. So we give them every opportunity to survive that very difficult first 6 months. So to unlock SME growth, your clients need more input from the key advisor. And to be honest, I've thought a few times, who else could advise SMEs in a startup capacity? And I can't think of anyone else. It comes back to accountants and then bookkeepers and business advisors. Just as that's the key group that supplies the same sort of data in slightly bigger businesses than the average SME, because they've got a full-time accountant or a chief financial officer. And they get these services. So the power of systems in scaling up. Imagine that your client's business is a finely tuned engine. And without a reliable set of systems, even the most promising venture can sputter out, can't it? We need to make sure that your clients have utilised systems on a whole range of things. Credit giving, debtors days outstanding. Suppliers, making contact with suppliers, confirming with the suppliers what the payment terms are going to be. Taxation, understanding the taxation regime, when payments have to be made. That is all part of 3 separate systems I just discussed. And there's a whole lot more. I think in the average business, you're going to find there's up around 50 systems that need to be documented and then implemented to help your clients survive. Let's look at what systems are first needed from startup, right at the very beginning. I think there's an acknowledgement that your client should be understanding that there's 3 pillars that businesses are based on. Successful businesses are based on strategy, systems, documenting, understanding, developing a systems manual. This is all very important in the planning process. And then the execution. The execution needs to be performed in compliance with the systems manual, with the systems. And then cash. Obviously, businesses need cash. What's their cash flow projections? What's it all going to look like? So we've got some basic ingredients emerging here, haven't we? We need a plan, a business plan. We need projected financial performance, budgets, cash flow forecasts, projected balance sheets. And then what the cash flow evaluation is going to tell us, of course, is whether there's enough cash in the business, enough funding. Now let's go back to square one then as an accountant or a bookkeeper or a business advisor. That your role up to this stage may well have been in the preparation of income tax returns or preparing data that's ultimately going to be used by the accountant in the preparation of the income tax return. You need to take a deep dive. You need to have a good look at the business. You need to understand that the vast majority of accountants do not have an in-depth knowledge of your client's affairs. All you know is what you need to know for the preparation of the income tax returns and the final accounts. Let me give you an example. Some years ago, I was contracted by AusIndustry of the Australian government to conduct a series of workshops on corporate governance. And I was conducting one of these sessions. We had about 44 people in the room. And as part of the discussion on corporate governance, directors' responsibilities, I was going through this sort of due diligence that directors should observe relative to the monthly performance report from the chief financial officer or the accountant or whoever's responsible for the accounting process. And one of the comments I made is, and you should have a good look at debtors' days outstanding. How much is it? How many days does it represent? How does that compare to the budget? And a lady put up a hand and said, what should our debtors' days outstanding be? And I said, well, what's yours? She said, I don't know. I said, oh, okay. And it was getting close to morning tea time. I could see the caterers down the back were just about ready. So I said, how about we break for morning tea? And I went and talked to this lady. And I said, well, what's your position? I'm the office manager. And you don't know your debtors' days outstanding? No. Do you know how much is owed by debtors? Yes. And she told me a figure, and it was quite high. I said, oh, well, what's your business's turnover? She said, oh, between $8 and $9 million. And I did the calculation. And she must have seen my face and she said, is that high? I said, yes, it is quite high. It was 102 days, debtors' days outstanding. I said, have you got an accountant? Oh, yeah, we've got an external accountant. What do they do? Oh, they only do the annual accounts and the tax return. Do they ever talk to you about your debtors' balance? No, not that I know of. Who owns the business? My father. Does your father ever get cranky? Oh, yeah, a fair bit, especially when the bank manager rings him. I said, I can understand why. You've got a lot of money tied up in debtors, a lot more than what most businesses would have. I then said to her, who's your accountant? And I knew that guy. I'd run into him at various conferences over the years. And it's a small world. 2 weeks later, I ran into him. And he said, "Oh, I hear you've been out in a certain town." I said, "Yeah, well, I was running a conference sort of session for the Oz industry on corporate governance." He said, "Yeah, I know. You got a good rap from a couple of my clients who were there." "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, one of them in particular was," he said, "Yeah, I know, you've been spoken to." I said, "Well, she asked me a question about debtors days outstanding. She had no idea how to calculate it. She had no idea it was high. Hadn't you talked to her about this?" And he said, "No, no, no." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Well, I don't need to know that to do the tax return." And that was the response. I think he was wrong. I told him he was wrong. What do you think? Do you think I'm wrong pointing that out to him? Because that client, that office manager, because I asked her subsequently how long she'd been the office manager. She'd been the office manager for 4 years and never really discussed this issue. Had no idea what it meant. I don't think that's very fair on that lady that was performing that role. I don't think it was fair on that client. I don't think it's that narrow an approach to preparing a tax return. But what I'm highlighting is that accountant did not understand how that business was operating. He had no idea. So if suddenly he was going to start offering an advisory service, he would have to undertake the deep dive to understand a lot of things about that business. If he didn't know what the debtors days outstanding were, there was a lot of other things that were happening in that business that he obviously didn't understand. I then asked the owner when I did get introduced to him. In fact, I did get hired to try to get the debtors days outstanding reduced, and we got it reduced back to a more bearable level. And we found out a few other things on the way. I did ask them what the role was, and they said, no, he just does what he does. So, okay, so we need to understand 1 inch wide but a mile deep. It's just not knowing the detail across the surface. It's really digging down and finding out how this business operates. So let's look at some of the things that might be undertaken before you look at the tax return. The corporate structure, the internal control system, risks for this business. What are they? What strategies have been outlined? What's the production planning? How's that organised? What's the inventory management? Who orders raw products into the business? Who checks that the quantity arrives? Who checks that a fair price has been paid? What's the sales processes? Who are the customers? Who authorises customers to have credit accounts? Who follows up the debtors to make sure payments are being made? What's the expansion plans? What's that likely to cost? Where's that money going to come from? What research and development activities are being conducted? Sometimes you'll find that there are actually research and development activities going on, but no one knows that there's a potential to gain a taxation advantage from keeping proper records and processes. And I've talked about debtors management. That's some of the items, just to start with. What goes on in this business? Who's got the keys? Who opens and shuts? Because if you were the employed chief financial officer, I can assure you that you would know all these things. I was the chief financial officer of a listed public company. I was the company secretary. I had a very detailed book of what made everything work. We had 13 branches around Australia, so monitoring what they were doing, making sure there were systems was very important. Understanding. I would not have known a fraction of that if I was just preparing the tax return. I think the other thing we've got to appreciate is our clients are operating businesses 52 weeks of the year. Now, they mightn't quite trade 52 weeks of the year, but a lot of them have seasonal shutdowns. And what do they do in the seasonal shutdown? They do major new works, or they do repairs and maintenance, or they do team training. And they might be shut to the public, but they're still operating. So this concept of coming along, and of course we're doing a tax return, that's the only time clients basically get any advice, I don't think it's good enough in 2025. Clients need daily, weekly, monthly. So what would they get daily? A one-page report that goes to the leadership team. It might say yesterday's sales. What was the average sale yesterday? What was the yield percentage? If there's yield type determination business. What was the bank balance? What major bills are going to be paid this week? You might have there the debtors balance also. So they're kept informed. A weekly report. I think the weekly performance report, the profitability report, and the attached key performance indicators for each business operation conducted by the business is very important. I think it's probably the most important document that's produced every week. Why? Because if it doesn't meet expectations, if there was an expectation for a gross profit percentage of 38% and only 22% is being achieved, there can be an immediate review to see what went wrong. What caused that? Think about the case where the client basically only talks to their accountant once or twice a year. They probably do not have the resources or the impetus to set up a weekly reporting system throughout the year. They need some accounting input to make that happen, because that's what happens in the bigger end of town. It's the accounting teams that has to drive this and produce these reports and make sure they're accurate and make sure that variances are investigated. Now, it might partly be an accounting role, but it's a management role. So it's put back to management. Here's a problem. The gross profit percentage is only 22%. There was an expectation of 38%. So there's a 16% difference. On the turnover, that represents whatever, a lot of money. We need to find out what caused that problem and fix it. Now, it could be a clerical error. It could have been the stock take was done incorrectly. It could have been that some great new stock purchases that have been made that were going to be specialised this week haven't turned up because they got caught up because of transport difficulties. That's all explainable and that could be fixed, but it could have been fraud, or it could have been someone's made a miscalculation, and that miscalculation could continue week after week if we're not careful. So that what we achieve is the problem gets identified and fixed. It doesn't continue for week after week. If this all occurred in the week 1 of the financial year, it could go on for another 51 weeks. And then it could go on for another 20-odd weeks, couldn't it? Maybe even longer, because how long does it take you to get round to doing the annual accounts and the tax return? So the problem could have been embedded into the system. And you have your meeting and say to the client, well, last couple of years you've had a gross profit percentage of somewhere between 36 and 40%, but this year it's down at 23, 24%. What went wrong? It's too late then to go back and fix it. Hopefully it's going to get fixed, but we've got all those weeks. We've lost all that money. This is the reason for the importance of the weekly performance report. And the big end of town do this in their businesses. The public company that I was in did this. We had major meatworks, retail butcher shops, small goods factories. Every one of them had a profit and loss account prepared each week. It's part of the performance report. Now then, the monthly report is that we're going to get profit and loss accounts for each business activity. We can compare them to the budget and get the variation reports. Very important. So that's the overview that I wanted to give you on the general way you go about helping clients to instigate great systems to help them survive. I now want to touch on a couple of other issues that are all contained within ESS BIZTOOLS. And within the advanced package, we have material on the early stage innovation company. This is a great initiative by Malcolm Turnbull when he was the Prime Minister. And Malcolm Turnbull did understand the problems that small businesses have in raising capital. So 8 years ago, the government recognised that and introduced legislation to help innovative young companies. If a company meets the specific criteria, it can obtain the status of being an early stage innovation company. The real benefit there is there's an inducement to investors to invest in these companies. That's what Turnbull knew the problem was. Young, good idea companies not being able to raise money. They didn't have a track record. So the inducement was offered by the government. Unfortunately, I don't think enough accountants know enough about it. We should be talking about it. We should be talking to the clients that have got capital to invest, maybe through their superannuation funds or just from private investment. They may be interested. We don't talk enough about these things. I rarely see an article on early stage innovation company unless I wrote it. And that's not good enough. Other people should be talking about these things because the investors get 20% of their investment. So if they invest $50,000 in the company, they receive $10,000 off their tax bill. That's if they're a retail investor. If they're a sophisticated investor, they can invest up to $1 million. The maximum tax credit they can get is $200,000. But the real benefit is if they hold those shares that are issued as part of the status time determination, they hold those shares for longer than 12 months and less than 10 years, they pay no capital gains tax. It's pretty good, isn't it? I'd bear it in mind when you're talking to your clients. I've already told you that one I got in front of myself. Management accounting service. Within ESS BIZTOOLS, we have various components relating to management accounting services because this is what a lot of these extra services are to help your clients. Key performance indicators, business metrics, costing calculations. In the company that I was with, we had a small costing team, 2 people that spent basically every day preparing various costing exercises because the CEO, one of the branch managers would be saying to us, well, if we changed how we do this, what's the extra costs? What value can we get? What can the sales department sell this product at if it's modified? Those problems occur in every business. Who does the costing exercises? Who does your client talk to about that? Key performance indicators that enable ongoing comparison of performance. On their own, a key performance indicator doesn't mean that much. I referred to before, if the target was 38%, you only made 22%, that becomes obvious. So if you've got a weekly results on KPIs and they're running on 38, 37, 39, 38, 36, 22, it stands out pretty obvious, doesn't it? That someone's got to go in and investigate and find out what went wrong and fix it. We don't want that same problem occurring next week. Business metrics and break-even calculations. How long since you've done some break-even calculations to help your clients when they're looking to create a new activity? They need to know what revenue they need to achieve each week or each day just to break even on that new venture. Be able to calculate it for them. The ESS BIZTOOLS Advanced package will help you to deliver a wide range of services to help your clients survive. You can get 24/7 access to the subscribed packages. You receive 10 training sessions of 1 hour each during the year. But you can attend training sessions for our other 3 products also if you wish to. So we run 40 training sessions a year. We've got 4 packages. Our clients are invited to go to any of the packages they want to. They might get some ideas. We produce the Business Plus newsletter each month, which when it goes out to the clients, you've already badged it with your name on it. The newsletter includes 4, maybe up to 6 articles each month. Articles that are targeted at clients at various stages of their development so that you can talk to them and communicate with them so that they have an understanding of the business process. So I think you can unlock your clients' growth by utilising the ESS BIZTOOLS Advanced Product Package. I've now brought up for you the summary of the ESS BIZTOOLS product package. So we've gone onto the ESS BIZTOOLS site. And what we have on the screen is a summary of all of our product packages, but they are then developed into the individual components. So what we've now just configured is the advanced package. So you have budgeting and cash flow forecasts. You have the training packages to get your team ready. You have business evaluation workshops, guidelines for how you would approach a particular problem. We've got the business health checks, which is really looking at the key performance indicators and the business metrics, comparing one to the other. We have a very detailed package on business planning. Got material there to assist you. We've got the Business Plus newsletter, which I just referred to before. We've got a complete product package on buying a business, the advice that you would be giving the clients, the articles, the handouts you can make available to your clients. You can badge them with your name on them, hand them to your clients. We've got a summary of cash flow management, evaluation of the cash flow forecast, looking forward 6, 7, 8 months, and being aware that there's a forecast problem because inventory levels are going up, because there's been some input made that, geez, the shipping's slowing down. We're bringing raw materials in from somewhere around the world. The unfortunate wars being conducted are interfering with shipping. We've got a full product on Chief Financial Officer services. What's the Chief Financial Officer do? I've written that from my own personal experience and input I've had from other colleagues who have performed similar roles. Because we envisage that that's the role you should be supplying to your clients, the Chief Financial Officer role for an SME. We've got clients doing that, utilising the ESS BIZTOOLS material all over Australia. We've got client mentoring and coaching modules. These are modules we're prepared that you can badge, you can present to your clients. You can charge them for that service too, if you wish, of course. We've got client seminars. In this package, we've got about 30 pre-prepared, ready-to-use seminars that, again, you badge them with your name and you send them out to your clients. Crowdsource funding, equity raising. If you have a client who has a private company or an unlisted public company, turnover under $25 million internationally, value of assets under $25 million, not listed on a stock exchange anywhere in the world, that company can go through the process to be deemed to be a crowdsource funding equity raising company and is able to offer to the public shares and can raise up to $5 million in 12 months. Again, a bit similar to early stage innovation company, which is its stablemate product. They both come in at the same time. Not enough people know about it. But there's been $440 million raised since this process commenced. But it's only, I think, a touch of what the reality could be, because the government-appointed intermediaries called crowdsource funding intermediaries have told me they're not getting enough deal flow. They need accountants to be talking to clients about this and saying there are opportunities here. You don't have to mortgage your house or your mother-in-law's home unit or whatever. There are alternatives. You can issue shares, and then there's no interest to pay. There's no monthly repayments of principal. It's an investment. Sure, there's an expectation that you're going to work hard, or your client's going to work hard to generate profits, to pay dividends. That's how the free enterprise system works. You can utilize the material there to make a full presentation. We've got debtors management, a complete process, which is looking at the system, the concept of making sure on the tax invoice, the due date for payment is shown. But going back before that, an application from this new customer to have a credit account so that your client's team can check it out. Make sure that they're not getting someone else's problem. Early stage innovation company. I've talked about that in the overview we gave you. ESS papers. You've got access to 580 separate papers on 70 different subjects that you can badge and send to your clients. They think you've written the material. That's okay. That's the service we're providing for you. The export market development grant. How many clients have you got that are exporting? And you don't have to be a company to claim the export market development grant. You can be everything. You can be a sole trader, a partnership, a trust, a company, or an association to claim the export market development grant. You could claim grants, or your client could claim grants of up to $770,000 over a 7-year period. Some people do. Government grants. There's still hundreds of government grants available in Australia. And one of the big ones I'm about to come to. We've got the Personal Property Securities Register. I've had accountants say to me, is that still there? Of course it's still there. It was a disaster, the original legislation. Thank goodness it got revamped and redeveloped, but it's still there. And your clients can protect themselves, but they can also get caught if they're unaware of it. We've got the professional charge out rate calculator. Maybe you use it for yourself. I think you should be the first test your own firm to determine appropriate charge out rates, which based on the productivity of your individual team members will generate the budgeted profit that you have set for this year. Well, we have calculators as well for the tradie charge out rates and for retailers to determine their product mix, various markups, again trying to earn the targeted profit. You've got the research and development package, which is the complete package in the advanced package, which takes you through from the initial discussions that we also incorporate in the advisory intro package, which is to enable you to answer a question from a client. How do I get this research and development tax benefit? One of my competitors, I hear he's got it, so if he's got it, I should be able to get it. Maybe a naive comment, but at least you've got the resources to go into your screen and we will give you the answers. Selling a business, very important. The debtor systems manual. Yeah, we've actually written a manual that you can badge with your name and your client's name. Do an overview, do some tweaking in the system if you like, maybe change some of the terminology. Your client might have introduced color codes so that people can understand. So you might call something the green book rather than the cash register book or whatever. The SME needs analysis. This is a very important document. It helps you to have some dot points to communicate with your clients. Mentoring, very important. Succession planning and the trades industry that I talked about before. There's a fair bit of material there. I hope it is enough to really get you started on this journey. So the ESS BIZTOOLS product package There's an upfront discounted subscription for 12 months, $5,940, including GST. Or you can pay it in monthly installments, 12 monthly installments of $594, including GST. That gives you the full package, gives you the training that I talked about before, gives you everything I've just shown you. So if you're interested in subscribing for this package, please go to our website, www.essbiztools.com.au, and click on packages and pricing, and then click on starter package. You'll see the other 3 packages are also listed there. Click on to subscribe now. Complete your payment arrangements, either the cash up front or the monthly payment. And in 24 hours, you'll be able to start exploring the starter package. We'll be in contact with you and we'll set up your first training session, which we offer to every new subscriber as part of this process to get your team underway. If you've got any questions relating to any of the services that ESS BizTools provide to assist accountants, business advisors, and bookkeepers who are wanting to supply these type of services, if you've got any questions, you want to know more about them, about our philosophies, please contact us. You can send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, or you can make a phone call, 0747241118. And if you would like a 40-minute complimentary webinar with you and your colleagues, where we would work through and look at the opportunities that your firm might have in offering a wide range of financial, commercial advisory services, including management accounting, we'd be happy to talk to you. So thank you for showing some interest in watching this video at your time that suits you. I should have said at the beginning, if you have any questions, you can ask me on chat, but my apologies, I overlooked doing that. So thank you very much for being with us. I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.